Hi, Stampers. It's Pat here with Fairless Stampin Flair. The card today on my blog is a layering circles technique. And as I was writing up the tutorial, I decided it was hard to write it up and explain. It's not hard to do it, but it's hard to put it in words. And I kept making more diagrams and more diagrams. So there is a tutorial, but we're going to walk through the tutorial because I think it'll be easier to show you the steps. So that's why we're just going to make this quick video to show you how to create the layering circles technique. So let's put my other camera down. And this is a card that's on the blog. It is made with the Peace on Earth. It's a new bundle. Actually, it's a suite. And if you're a demonstrator, you may be familiar with it if you signed up for Creativity Now a couple weeks ago, or a week or so ago, end of June sometime. This is a suite that was featured in Creativity Now, and it's beautiful. So what I wanted to do, we're looking at cards all this week made with this suite. So before I show you how to make this layering circles, I'm calling it a swoosh. Let me just show you this suite. It has, of course, a stamp set and a bundle, and the stamp set is all sentiments, and there's a couple in here that are appropriate for Christmas. Our card on the blog today is a Christmas card. But there's also lots of other sentiments that we can use this with. It has a couple of great label kinds of dies, a couple doves. The doves is what sold me. And then some little, I think these are some little stars and just a couple stems. So that's the bundle. It also includes an embossing folder, which makes this beautiful greenery frame. You'll see that later this week on a card. And it includes, the suite includes glimmer paper in these three colors. This one is Secret Sea. This one they just called blue. And this one they just called green. Now I've heard some people refer to it as cloud cover. It definitely does have more of a green cast to it, in my opinion, than cloud cover does, but it works very well with the cloud cover. So we've got three pretty glimmer papers in the suite. And then since I've already been working on cards for this week, I've used quite a bit of this particular design. This is the only piece I have left of any substance, but I thought I'd show you the designer series paper. There's a couple pages that have doves. There's a lot of foliage, some smaller foliage, crumb cake. This is a misty moonlight color. The colors in here are basically Secret Sea, misty moonlight, crumb cake, and this to me looks like Lost Lagoon, but it does go really nicely with that, what they call green glimmer paper. It goes well with that. It also coordinates well with cloud cover, but I wouldn't look at it and say, oh, that's cloud cover. So that's the one side, and then the other side, we've got some stars, some more doves, lots of doves in here, so it'll make great sympathy cards. Christmas cards, of course, like this one. This is kind of my style. It's just sort of a mottled basic beige. So there's basic beige in here. Here's a check pattern and another crumb cake design. So the last item, oh no, not the last item. There's one more, which I didn't pull out. Maybe I can find it. Some beautiful ribbon. I would say this goes best with probably Misty Moonlight. It might go nice with some of our other blues. And it's got this little silver edge. It's nice and soft. so will be very easy to tie. Let me see if I can find, here they are. I forgot about the embellishments. There are embellishments also in this suite, so it's got a lot of product in this suite. It is not currently available. It will be, so you're getting an early sneak peek. This will be available in the fall mini catalog. But here's some flowers in various shades of blues and white. So just a beautiful suite. And I am featuring it this week on my blog. So today is our first card. So let's get to the card. How do we do layering circles? Well, the first thing you have to do is figure out what kinds of paper you want to use. Now you can use simply cardstock, different colors of cardstock. I added some of that Secret Sea glimmer paper, and I did 3 of the designer series papers from this suite. And I chose this one. I'm just going to pull out the ones I chose. So I chose these 3, and then the Secret Sea glimmer paper. So let's get these out of the way. Do I have a piece of Secret Sea handy? Probably not. Other than that big one I just showed you. So let's get that. All right. So this was the part I had the most difficulty with, I'll be honest. Picking out which papers to use. And then once you figure out, so it needs 4 different designs. The layering circles technique I'm showing you, you use 4 different patterns, either patterns or colors, but 4 different ones. So I chose these 4, and then you have to kind of figure out what order you want them to go in your swoosh or circle. So which ones look best next to each other? So I played around a bit, and I ended up basically with this one. I called this one design number 1. I called, which one did I make number 2? I think I made this my number 2. And then I gotta make sure I'm looking at the right thing. This was number 3, and this was number 4. And the reason I'm telling you to figure out what order you want them in is because we're going to cut circles out of these, and we're going to cut 2 circles out of each. I already have them cut out. Don't worry, you don't have to watch me die cut. But it makes a difference which sizes you're going to cut out of it, which one, depending on the order you want. So think of this as design 1, 2, 3, and 4, or color 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when we look at our tutorial that you can download from the blog, I've got design 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in here, I have a chart. All right. So number 1, which is this one here, I need my smallest circle die and my largest circle die. Now I chose to use Spotlight on Nature dies, and there's a lot of them to choose from. You can use any circle dies. You just need 4 in a different size, and you need 4 that are equally incremented in diameter, so that they are, if you were to lay them all directly on top of each other, they would, all 4 of them would nest together. So I chose to use the Spotlight on Nature. The stylish shaped dies would work great. You just want 4 of them. And I ended up, this one I thought was a little bit too big to put on the card. You could, but it's going to cover most of it. So I ended up choosing the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th largest. Now, so let's just take out 4 of these that we're going to use. And I'm going to move my designer paper out of the way because I think we're done explaining that part. I want you to be able to see the tutorial a little bit as I explain it. So we've got one, the largest, second largest, the next, and the next. And in the tutorial, I called this one the smallest and this one the largest. Duh, that's pretty easy, right? I called this the second smallest and this the second largest. So when you look at the tutorial, just to understand my terminology, that's how I did that, okay? So then if we look at this diagram here, or chart, I guess I would call it, the design number one, whichever one you want. If you lay them out 1, 2, 3, 4 in order, the first design you're going to have the smallest and the largest. So you're going to cut this out of design 1. Out of design 2 and 3, you're going to take these two middle ones out of number 2 and 3, and then design 4, you're going to use these two again. So you got your two designs on the end. You're going to have the smallest and the largest, and in the center you're going to use the two in the middle. Okay? I hope that makes sense. This was what I was getting a hard time explaining on this tutorial. And I've got diagrams here trying to call out what's design 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've colored them. And the diagram design 1 is green, 2 red, 3 pink, and 4 blue. So I took those as I had them laid out. Let's put that out of the way. And this was my design 1. So I have done the biggest and the smallest. Here was design 2, which you can see these are from the same dies. And then design 4 is the same two that these are. So now we're going to start layering these together. And if we look at this, our first diagram number 1, we're going to start with design 4. So just let me keep these in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And we're going to make our first circle first. So we're going to take number 4, and then number 3, number 2, and you're just going down 1 in each size. Oh, I have these wrong. You got to make sure you get the right size. You're going down 1 in size each time, and you're alternating the design. So now here I want the small one. And we're going to just adhere these together, okay? And I will do that. For diagram number 2, we're going to start with design number 1, and then we're going to take the next largest, design number 2, but instead of stacking them along this edge, we're going to stack them on the right edge. And then here's design number 2, 3, this is design number 3, and this one is design number 4. So let's just go ahead and glue these down. We will try to do this relatively quickly. This is actually quite simple, but that part I just explained to you was the hardest thing for me to figure out how to put that clearly in words. So I hope that explanation helps. These are all going to get stacked per diagram number 1 on the left edge. So let's just do that. And you kind of want to get the apex of the circle, you want those to align. Your gaps here and here will be pretty much equal. They should be. In other words, you don't want to have one where it's down lower. You want to make sure, maybe even put this on a piece of grid paper, and then that's your farthest point out. Now, I did not try it, but I think you could use directional paper. You just might want to pay attention when you cut it, which way you cut it so the design would run. If it's really directional, you'd want to pay attention to that. It's going to be easiest with non-directional patterns for sure. Because the thing is, as we make our circle, we're going to use one from one of these circles and one from the other. And you'll understand that when I get to that. Okay, so here again, I'm just going to take this farthest place to the right this time and adhere that down. And if I want, I can estimate that about in the middle. And then that helps me know where that is if it's hard to eyeball it for you. It's not. I don't want that part to scare you. You can see where the edge is pretty easy. Okay. Okay. So now we have both of these made. This is number 1, and this is number 2. And it's important to keep that straight because as we assemble them, it'll probably become obvious why, because it has to do with how the patterns follow. Okay. Okay, so now we have to cut each of these in half. Now, I measured my largest circle, and the largest circle here was 3 1/4. So half of that, obviously, is divide 3 1/4 by 2, and you get 1 5/8. So because this also has 4 layers, and one of them is glimmer paper, which is thicker, I'm going to use my super cutter that I've had forever. This, when I first started stamping 20 years ago, this was the cutter I bought. I bought it at Costco. It's a Fiskars. It's been a great cutter. And I use it a lot because you can cut multiple sheets with this. And that's why I'm grabbing this one, because I want it to be a little bit thicker. But I want to take the apex of this circle and cut down straight through in half. Now, 1 5/8 on this particular cutter, I can only see where that is up here on top. The Stampin' Up! Cutter will be much better because on our Stampin' Up! Cutter, we have lines every quarter all the way down, so we could at least eyeball it between, I said 1 5/8, so it's going to be between 1 1/2, halfway between 1 1/2 and 1 3/4. The reason I'm choosing to use this one is because of the thickness. This will have more difficult time going through 3 layers of designer paper and a piece of glimmer paper. So I'm just going to use this one. I don't want to take a chance to tear it. So because my cutter doesn't have that, I have this running down here at 1 5/8, and I can put my apex up here. And then if I just put this edge against the 1 5/8, keep the highest point up here at the top. And then I know I'm close enough to center. Let's put it that way. Might not be exact. It's not going to matter if it's exact. And I would say it is probably not. This one looks a little bit bigger, but it'll be okay. When we're going to do the same thing with the other one. So I'm going to take this highest point at the top and line my left edge up with my piece of masking tape here. Now you do that part of it, whatever works best for you. We all have our own cutters. This one's probably a little closer to half. But we use the tools we have, and we all best know the ones we have, right? So now I have these 2 pieces, And if I remember correctly, this was diagram number 1, and this was diagram number 2. Now I'm going to take, it doesn't matter, we're going to mix and match. If I take the top one here, then I want to take the bottom one, then I want to take, I always have to think about this. I'm going to take the bottom one here, it's opposite. And can you see that? If I do it that way, then these designs all match up. Now, the nice thing is, this makes 2 cards, because this one will work the same way. The swoosh will go in the opposite direction, but if I take the bottom and the top, now I have 2. And I can make 2 cards, right? So let's just grab, this is the card that's in my blog. If you pull up the tutorial, I also show a photo of the other one. So we're just going to make the opposite one today. And it doesn't matter which one I choose. I'll just use diagram number 1, and top of 1 and bottom of 2. And we're going to adhere these down on here. And I adhered them directly because it's, did I use dimensionals? It's hard to tell. I use dimensionals. It is raised a little bit. So we'll use dimensionals since I'm on a roll. Might as well do like the tutorial tells you. So we'll just add some of these on here. Nice thing about this is I'm getting a jump start on my Christmas cards. And I'm going to put one there too. And we're just going to kind of center this on here. So get the top and the bottom kind of centered vertically, and the sides. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's pretty close. You do kind of want to get it to be straight. So I probably should lay this straight on the grid paper. And then we'll put that one below. All right, now here you want to make sure you watch and you just match up where your colors line up so that you get that continuous swoosh. And that's how you do a layering circles swoosh. Now I do have the sentiment, so I might as well finish this. The way I did this, because it's going to be kind of half on one, half on the other, is I just put a bit of liquid adhesive along the edges, and then we will just center this on here. I did use, this is Secret C, and I did emboss this with white embossing powder to make the sentiment pop. On this one, the one in the block is just stamped. Okay. And because this was white, so what I did, and I did put a little bit of this on the tutorial. I just explained what I switched out. If you want to make one of each, or you can make them all the same, it doesn't matter. But just to show you how I used both of them. So any place you see Secret C in your cutting dimensions, wherever you see Secret C, it's going to be white. And wherever you see white, it's going to be Secret C. I just switched the two, just for friends. So let's go ahead and put our little dove on here. And that is also just popped up with dimensionals just to get it up to the level of them. Now what I kind of like to do with these is I either take a bone folder or sometimes just my finger. When I have a bird with feathers or something, I just like to curl it just a bit. So And I did need my embellishments, I see. No, I don't know if there's anything such thing as a secret sea color bird. Probably not. But it's a card. We can use creativity, right? So on here again, instead of using the white ones, which is on the card in the block, I used the secret sea. So let's just go ahead and put these, and I'll put them on the other side because the swoosh goes in the opposite direction, right? And maybe we'll just use a couple little ones up here. Okay, there is card number 2. Inside, I did not add an extra mat. The one in the blog does have an extra mat because I had room for secret sea. Well, I had room here too, it just wouldn't show. So I just put white and then I added a strip. So there we go. I hope that helps. I hope that along with the tutorial, which you can download with all the dimensions, I hope that helps explain how to put the swoosh together. So let me flip back here. And we're going to wrap this up. I look forward to having you look at the rest of the cards from this beautiful suite next week, or the rest of this week. And until then, have a great 4th of July. Today is July 2nd, right? So we've got some holiday time coming up. There will not be a Learning with Friends this week, as I announced in Learning with Friends last Thursday. That was my last one for, I'm not sure how long, at least a few weeks until I want to figure out what I'm going to do next with the streaming software. But anyway, have a great holiday. Hope you're enjoying a holiday weekend, and God bless. We will see you sometime. Bye-bye.